Hello guys, good morning. The objective of this podcast is to explain how the three authors influence the field of linguistics. For them, my colleagues, Juan David, Valentina, Nicole, and me will explain each of the topics. Let's start.
Hi, my name is Valentina Vargas and I will tell you who this character was and what he contributed to linguistics. It is not an exaggeration to say that contemporary linguistics derives to a large extent from the contribution made by the Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Saussure. First, we will talk about who it was. Ferdinand de Saussure was a Swiss linguistic, semiologist, and philosopher whose ideas served for the beginning and subsequent development of the study of modern linguistics in the 12th century. He is known as the father of structural linguistics of the 12th century. Born in Geneva in 1857 and he died in 1930, Swiss linguistic. He studied Sanskrit in Leipzig under the influence of the school of neo-grammarians, which sought to renew the study methods of comparative grammar. Unfortunately, he did not live long, but his contributions continued to be one of the most important to linguistics. It is very likely that Ferdinand de Saussure was unaware that the three courses in general linguistics that he loved at the University of Geneva will change the history of linguistics, especially if we take into account that the Geneva master died a few years after the last of them. And here is a curious fact. It can be believed that after his death, two of his disciples, Charles Bailly and Albert Sachs, together with the collaboration of Albert Reilinger, dedicate themselves to the task of organizing the notes of the students who attend those courses. Since he now famous linguistic destroyed his writing class every year. In the course, Saussure speaks of a future science destined to study the life of science within social life, semiology. This science, which Anglo-Saxons prefer to call semiotics, should teach us what science consists of and what are the laws that govern them. Linguistics, understood as the science of articulate language, will cover only a sector of that more general discipline. In all teacher training, we are going to keep this in mind. Every more so we made the decision to focus on the area of language. From the value point of view, it gives an example of perseverance capable of generating change in some things that seems to us to be very structured, which does not allow new forms of communication or living such as education in this world to advance. Taking into account the structures that we teachers can change in the classroom for the benefit of our students.
Ferdinand. His most influential work, Curso de Linguistics General, is based on the notes of his students. He was published posthumously by his disciples, meaning that much of his influences on linguistics developed after his death. Ferdinand is known for his treatise approach to linguistics, which has had a significant impact on the way language is taught and studied around the world. His focus on the structure of the linguistic science has influenced the teaching of grammar and semantics. Noam Chomsky. The revolution of generativation. Noam Chomsky revolutionized linguistics with his theory of generativation. His work Syntactic Structures, 1957, changed the way grammar was approved in educational linguistics, introducing the idea of generative and transformational grammars. Critique of traditional grammar teaching. Chomsky has been an ardent critic of grammar teaching based on superficial rules and structures. He has argued that grammar should be taught in more reflective way and focus on the natural linguistic competence of speakers. Michael Halliday. Language as a social tool. Michael Halliday developed the theory of systemic functional linguistics, which focuses on language as a tool for communication and the construction of meaning in social contexts. His approach has influenced the way language and literacy teaching is approached in education. Halliday gave importance to both oral and written language in this theory, which has had an impact on the teaching of reading and writing in education. His focus on the function of language in different contexts has been useful in planning language education programs. These three authors have left significant marks in the field of education and linguistics, influenced the way language is taught and understood in the educational context and beyond. His theories and approaches continue to be studied and applied in linguistic teaching and research. Jen Comet's made important contributions to the fields of linguistics and education, particularly in relation to multilingual learning and second language acquisitions. Some of his most significant contributions include theory of interdependence of linguistic competence. Comments propose that the skills in a student's native language and second language are interconnected. Bilingual communicated competence model introduced the concept of bilingual communicated competence, which refers to the ability of an individual to function effectively in two languages. Bilingual and immersion education. The educational model related to the contributions of James Cummins focuses on linguistic equity and respect for linguistic diversity of students. He promotes teachings that recognize and valorize students' languages and cultures of origin while supporting that in developed skills in the dominant language of the society in which they find themselves. Cummins advocates a comprehensive approach that takes into account the cognitive, linguistic, and cultural dimensions of learning.
Michael Halliday. He is known for having developed the grammatical model known as system functional grammar or systematical functional linguistic. He was a professor of linguistics at the University of London and Sydney and was interested in the study of intonation and discourse analysis. He was born and raised in England, son of a couple of language teachers. His mother had studied French, while his father, Guilford, was a passionate dialectologist. Halliday worked in various areas of linguistics, although he was especially concerned with the study of the basic principles of language theory and language learning practice. The contribution of Halliday and his have led to better understanding of the structure of language and the importance of its social role.
Chomsky's discoveries have benefited the field of psychology in many ways as well. Linguistics is a discipline of cognitive psychology to understand how language is learned and used by children. In addition, his impact on psychological approaches. Chomsky also contributed to the literary field with more than 100 published books. He has been recognized for his work as an activist, philosopher, scientist, and professor with numerous honorary degrees and awards, including the Benjamin Franklin Medal and Cognitive Science and the American Psychological Association Disgusting Scientific Contribution Award. However, the principles and parameters techniques that Chomsky were based on the assumption that every language had similar parameters that could be manipulated and modified. By doing so, learning a language will only require the acquisition of a core set of linguistic principles. Chomsky also contributed to the field of phonology and influenced the work's other aspects, including Michel Tomasello and Elizabeth Bates. He explored language hierarchy and method classification that has impacted it could result in features that will be universal to all tongues, known as universal grammar. In this regard, Chomsky argues that some fundamental structures of every language are innate and universal to all human tongues. He points to the fact that children develop a competent use of language even though they are often exposed to incomplete or inaccurate grammar, and they may not receive more direct teaching about how to speak. Chomsky developed his linguistic theories in a series of lectures that were published under the name Letters of Government and Beginning. And one lecture is the piece of lectures, cover the principles and method parameters in several of his writings caused controversy and led to several death threats. Chomsky married Carol Doris Schatz, who he known since childhood. Prior to her death for cancer in 2008, Chomsky's wife was heavily involved in his work, helping to coordinate his speaking schedule. The couple have 2 daughters and son. Chomsky is best known for his influence on linguistics, specifically the development of transformational grammar. Chomsky believed that formal grammar was directly responsible for a person's ability to understand and interpret linguistics. Although Chomsky did not believe that language was innate, he did theorize that animals and humans would be capable of similar types of comprehension when exposed to specific linguistic information, but only humans can continue to develop those abilities through a process called language acquisition effects. Chomsky thought that if the lab for all human languages could be discovered, it could result in future. We'll continue with the activity. What authors other than Chomsky appeared on the podcast? A. Holiday, B. Satsuret, C. Simon Daly, D. A and B. The answer is D. Theory proposed by Chomsky. A. Transitional grammar, B. Linguistics, C. Language acquisition process. The answer is C.